Welcome back. We're still talking about this marriage of RFK Jr. and Donald Trump, but today we're going to see what all the Democrats thought about it, and we're going to take a little peek about why he was not the Democratic candidate. So we'll be right back. Welcome back, Tarot fam. So we are continuing the politic tarot of this week. So we're talking about the marriage of Donald J. Trump and RFK Jr. I think this is a very curious friendship that has developed. I think it's very interesting. I know there's a lot of people that are shaking in their boots and freaking out and don't even know what to make out of this. So we're going to take a look at what the major Democratic players thought of this bombshell. Well, it wasn't really a bombshell. It was kind of like a firecracker after the Democratic convention, because it really did take some of the spice out of their Democratic convention. But before we do that, we're going to do a little bit of creep dive. So let me do my creep dive video. Do I still have a creep dive? I think I do. Creep dive into mystery and conspiracy and deep, dark stuff. Let's dive. 3, 2, 1. So what was up? This is a way late video. What was up with the Democrats really pushing RFK Jr. out? Like, if you want to, immediately have a media presence, say a Kennedy's running for office, you're going to get people standing up and shout. I guarantee you that if a Kennedy somewhere in the middle of nowhere, distant cousin, decided to run for dog catcher, he'd be a shoo-in. She'd be a shoo-in. They'd be a shoo-in if they ran. So this is an easy marketing thing. So why did the Democrats not want to do this? Let's pull up the card view. And as always, thank you so much for being here. It's my favorite part of the day. So why didn't they want him there? Oh my. Oh my. So I think if he was a bit more pliable, not pliables, but pliable. I just became aware of pliables, and apparently all the gals in my town, the young gals, love pliables, and we have a pliable in town. It's, if you don't know what pliable is, if you're watching from outside of the US, it's a store that you go and you get these like yogurt bowls, and they've got like berries and Nutella and bananas and granola and all kinds of good stuff in them. So and there's like a little truck, you can like have a little truck come to your party. So they did not think that he was pliable enough. He was not going to he was going to be the politician, and he was going to be the decision maker. They did not want that. They wanted to be able to make the decisions themselves. They did not want someone who had a brain. If I only had a brain. That's really unfortunate. They also did not want him to have access to the information that he would get if he were in the lead role in the United States. They did not want him to have access to that. They did not want to give him the tools. You know what? I hate to say it. They would have liked him better if he was a hug addict. I'm just hitting all the buzzwords on here. If he had something that they could, if he had a compulsion for something that they could exploit, they would be happier with him because they would put that in front of him. So say he's a chocoholic, they would have chocolate everywhere and they would be able to distract him from work with chocolate. But he's not that kind of guy. He's actually a real worker. He really does get stuff done. He really does roll his sleeves up. He's not just a figurehead, which is, I believe, cut from the same cloth as the generation of his father and his uncle. So, is he living up to the Kennedy legacy? I think he is. I think he's not singing from the same page of the hymnal, but he has the same hymnal. So, he's just on a different page. So I know him and I think Carrie don't get along very well. There's some friction there, let's put it that way. But this is why they didn't want him in, because he is not a controllable asset. Let's put it that way. So let's pick these up. We won't go any further, lest I have sedans in my front yard. I'm already in a weakened state from the flu. So, what did Nancy think of this buddy system that we have? Swim buddies. They're swim buddies now. Donald Trump and RFK Jr. What did Nancy think? Nancy Pelosi. Nancy, what did you think? In the past, he was too much. He was not controllable. Absolutely. In the present, oh, I'm going to get him. And in the future, she's going to do what she can to break up this union. That's very interesting. What has she got in her back pocket? She's got rhythm. She's got music. I can still sing when I'm sick. So she's gonna stick her fingers in a wound. She's gonna stick her fingers in like an RFK, JFK wound. It's really terrible. She's going to have her little whisperers whisper in his ear that this is exactly the type of person that did what happened to your father and your uncle. That's what she's going to do. She's going to try and break up the union by scare tacticking him. Is it going to work? Is RFK Jr. a weak little boy? He's not. He's not. He's going to tell her, it's really terrible that you would do that. It's really awful that you would bring up the worst 2 days of my life, or two of the worst days of my life. But I'm okay now. And you introduced yourself. I know who you are. I know who you are now. So I don't think that's going to be too troubling. Too troubling. Chucky, what does Chucky think? Chuck Schumer. What does Chuck think about this? I know everyone says that what's his face looks like Grandpa from the Munsters, but I think Chuck Schumer kind of looks like Grandpa from the Munsters. Chuck wanted to work with the Kennedy. So, and I'm saying the Kennedy. He wanted to work with the Kennedy. He wanted to go hand in hand with him. He was like, no, I think we should do this. But he didn't want him on board in the top job because, again, he's not controllable. But he wanted the panache of saying, oh, I worked with RFK Jr. Oh, this is, it's come full circle. You can clap now. Poor Chuck. So, but he realized that was a wish out of hand. I think Chuck really would have hitched his cart to RFK Jr. if the powers that be would have let him. Now he's like, we're kind of dead in the water. We lost our crown jewel. This is literally the queen's crown without the what is it, the the big fat diamond that's in the coronation crown. It's KOL. Sorry. Still got a cold. Hang on. Not cold. Cold and mom? So, it's not a cold, it's a flu. But he's like, we lost our panache. That was our golden ticket. That was our golden boy. We could have really gone with that, and we cut ourselves off from the family more or less. Even though I do think that RFK Jr. is kind of I know he's still part of the family. He's Ethel's boy, but I think they're like, "What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, you've got some crazy ideas." So I think Chuck is disappointed. I think Chuck saw a door close. What does Joe think of this? Is Joe even aware that this holy union is happening? Some people would say unholy union, but I'm saying this matrimony has happened in the past. Joe thought that RFK Jr. was going to be held. In the immediate, Joe is not happy. In the future, Joe is delusional and thinks they can get him back. He thinks that they could woo him back to the party. They can get him back. Joe's not entirely with it. Hasn't been following the Twitters. What does Jill think? Give her a little bit of room here. See what Jill thinks. Jill Biden. What do you think of RFK Jr. hanging out with Trump? Wow, that's unexpected. So in the past, she thought that he was a golden ticket, a golden boy that they could bring on board. She did not, apparently was not opposed to him having a more prominent position on a ticket with the Democratic Party. And now that he's gone over to the Trump team, she's glad. She's glad. And she hopes that it causes friction in the party. She's pissed. She is angry for them running her husband out. Let's see what Hunter thinks. We're gonna take a look at what Hunter thinks. I didn't have him on my list, but we'll look. I have my lists all down here, guys. So that's why I'm like looking down. Not like following a spider across my desk or anything. Let's see what Hunter would think. In the past, he wanted to hang out with them. Now, you're my worst enemy. In the future, he's going to have a lot of negative things to say about him. Not that anybody's really listening to anything Hunter's saying, which, by the way, I am currently reading London Roberts' book, Out of the Shadows. It's her the story of her and Hunter's relationship. She's the baby mama. And fun fact, she was not a dancer when she met him. She became a dancer after she met him. She's actually like a crime scene student when she went to DC. So that was a fun fact that I did not know. So very interesting book. I started reading like 10 different books while I was sick because I couldn't focus on anything. But I've got them all on Audible and my Kindle. So yeah, I've got one on Chore Whore. It's tales of being a personal assistant in Hollywood, and then I got another one on a ex-worker and an honest woman. That's called that. I got the Paul Burrell book on Princess of Wales, Princess Diana. So yeah, I've been a busy bee. So yeah, Hunter is like, you're my worst enemy. So is Hunter going to have some negative things to say about him and about this union? Yes. Are we going to hear that? It's going to be a very quiet voice because Hunter is laying low. We've got his new trial that's coming up. I don't think that they settled that. That was tax evasion. That's coming up, I think, in California in September. So we'll get to Hunter. We'll start looking at some Hunter stuff in the next week or so. So yeah, Hunter, you're my worst enemy. I'm going to do my worst. Don't make me call my father. So I'm sorry, I had to say that. So what did Barack think of this changing or allegiance? It's like we're watching Survivor politics style. So in the past, he did like the whole Kennedy vibe. He was digging that Kennedy vibe. In the current, He doesn't think that he's actually gone. So, in Barack's opinion, Barack Obama, he thinks that this is somebody just moving closer to the fire. It's a cold night. I'm moving closer to the fire so that I can keep working. I can keep working. I'm just going to sidle over, get a little bit closer, and secure my bag. He thinks it's a secure his bag position. He thinks ideologically that RFK Jr. is not in alignment with anything that Trump does, and this is just kind of a power play. He's nonplussed about it, which I think Barack Obama is nonplussed about a lot of stuff. I think he is very nonchalant in retirement, and I believe we've seen this in interviews. He's just very nonchalant about stuff. He's like, nah, whatever. I already did the job, still doing the job. But I didn't say that, but he's still doing not the job. In the future, let's move forward and stick with the reading here. So in the future, he thinks that more is going to come out about Robert Kennedy Jr. that is going to be either damaging or interesting or pique people's interest. It's going to smokescreen and cloud up any of the good works that he does. He's like, it's fine. He could do whatever he wants. He's still got all that baggage that he's got to deal with. So, and RFK Jr. does have a little bit of baggage, with the deceased ex-wife. Is a little bit of a problem, a little awkward. He was not very nice to her on the way out. So what's Michelle think of this whole thing? What does Michelle think of this whole thing? I'm just realizing I left the big two ones. Like I left Bill and Hillary off here. So Michelle, in the past, she thought the Kennedys, again, gold standard, gold standard Democrats. In the present, she too is like, he'll be back to the party. He's not going to like it over there. He's going to come back and he's going to see what kind of, snakety snakes they are. And, in the future, he'll be sorry. And we don't have to take him back. We don't have to take him back. We're just not interested anymore, so they'll shut him out. He'll be on an island. He's going to be between parties. Let's put it that way. So what about Hillary and Bill? Hillary and Bill. Start with Bill. He always knew that he was a little bit more moderate than the current party. But to be sure, I think that Bill Clinton is a lot more moderate than what we're seeing right now. Fun fact, I voted for Bill Clinton. My parents are going to disown me if they see I did. I voted for him the first time around because he played saxophone on MTV. So don't leave me. I was young. I was in college. I didn't inhale. I figured it out. So, but yeah, he always said he was too moderate. The party was getting too radicalized for RFK to stay a part of it. Here he's like, it's fine. What does it matter? I'm not involved anymore. Doesn't make a difference to me. It's always going to be cyclical. It's going to be this party, that party, this party, that party. It's not going to be a big deal. So, we don't have to deal with him. We don't have him, squawking and fighting us and creating lawsuits, trying to get on tickets and do things like that. We don't have to deal with him. So we'll be happy. We'll close our circle. We'll circle the wagons is what I'm trying to say. In the future, he's just not going to be very pleasant or friendly to him. So why I think he's having this kind of reaction because of the wifey. Oh, Hillary. Oh, she's bad. She's angry. So, Yeah, one of the things is that she's not going to donate to any of their foundations or anything like that. She's not gonna be involved in any of his altruistic stuff. She's just not gonna do it. So thanks, Hill. But over here, she actually is much more radical than RFK Jr. And much more progressive. So, that I think she's always known that. He's cut off though. She doesn't want to have anything to do with him. And in the future, she's just not gonna share any of her cookies with him. So, I think that was a bit of a long video. So I think we'll leave it there with my Democrat voting confession there. So sorry. Don't unsubscribe. So I try and be as balanced as possible. And like I've told everybody, because I do get comments every now and then. I actually get held for review, like, oh, you're this or you're that. Now I'm really not. I'm like right in the middle. Like I'm a very practical kind of person. If there was a libertarian party that was robust and really a presence out there, I probably would be a registered libertarian. But I basically I like the idea of being altruistic on the micro in your local community, either through the community or church, and then extending out from that. I just want to be left alone. I also think taxation is theft, but I just think that if you're going to be charitable, it should be in the micro. I think we should be doing that in our own towns, that kind of thing. Does that mean we should be supporting other countries and things like that? Yeah, perhaps, but I do think that if we're clothing and housing people, it should be the people in our immediate town, our veterans, our homeless that are in our immediate towns. We should be taking care of our own. And in that sense, I do like tribalism. I like the microism of micro side of tribalism. But again, we're all Americans. We all have to live together, and yay, hip hip hooray. So nonetheless, this video went a little bit long. So I will see you guys in the next one. And what we're going to look at, we're going to see what they really think about each other. So look at that. Justice. Oh, did we already do that? I don't know. We'll see. Welcome back, Tarot fam. I can't remember if we did what do they really think about each other, but I'm going to watch this on the replay once they're posted. And if I didn't do it, I'll add it in. So in this video, we're going to see what can we expect from these two working together. So presuming that Trump gets elected, presuming that RFK Jr. is going to be in his cabinet, what kind of outcome can we expect? So that's where we're going with this. I will be right back.